He pō, he ao, takiri mai ko te ata. Kōrihi te manu, ka ao, ka awatea, tihe Māori ora. Tēnā koutou katoa, nau mai haere mai. Welcome to Rotorua Lakes Council. I am Andrew Marais, your Chief Executive. Don't be alarmed, I'll only be chairing this meeting until we have sworn in the Mayor. So I'd like to welcome you all here today, councillors, new councillors, returning councillors, members of the public, regional councillors-elect, members of the media, and all our whānau and special guests. I have the privilege and the honour of chairing this meeting until the Mayor is sworn in, but before we get started, a couple of housekeeping matters. Firstly, this meeting is being live streamed, so you'll be able to see that in due course. I'd also ask, therefore, that cell phones are switched off for the duration of the meeting so that business of this chamber can be conducted uninterrupted. Before we start, I'd like to invite Kingi Biddle, our Pukenga Mātauranga Māori, to open the meeting with a karakia.
Tēnā tātou katoa, me inoi tātou. He honore he karoria ki te atua, he maunga rongo ki te mata o te whenua, he whakaro pai ki ngā tāngata katoa amine. Ngaia e te atua he ngā kau hou, he ngā kau mā, ki roto ki tēnā o mātou. Whakatohungia te wairua tapu, hei awhina, hei tohu ia mātou, hei arahi hoki i roto i tēnei kaupapa, i roto i tēnei hui, i roto i tēnei kaunihera, amine. Tēnā tātou.
Thank you, Kingi. Welcome again to the inaugural meeting for the Rotorua Lakes Council. Today is an auspicious day and a very important day today where we're going to welcome in the Mayor and the councillors for this new triennium. I'm going to be going through some apologies before I ask the Mayor to come up and do her declaration, and which I will witness, after which she will chair the meeting. After that, after the declarations are complete, we're going to have a short break while the community board members go off for their photos, and then we'll continue with council business for the councillors in this chamber. So firstly, apologies. I have received apologies from Colin Guyton from the Rural Community Board. Are there any other apologies? None? I would now like to invite Ms. Tanya Tapsell to the signing table to attest and sign her declaration, after which she will be referred to as Her Worship the Mayor and take her seat.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Kua hau ko Tanya Tapsell, e oati ana ka whaia hau i te pono me te tōkeke i runga hoki i te mutinga ke, mai nei o aku pukinga o aku whakatau, hoki kia whakatūtuki, kia mahi anō hoki ki te mana whakahaere, te mana whakatau, me ngā momo mahi kua uhia ki runga ia au. Kia whiwhi painga mo te takiwa o Rotorua, hei manukura o te kaunihere āroho o Rotorua. E ai hoki ki te turi kāwangatanga a Taiao, 2002, ki te turi kāwangatanga a Taiao, whakapai me te hui, te kauma tahi mano, iwa rau, waru te kauma whetu. Me etahi ture anō rānei. He me whakau tēnei i Rotorua i tēnei rā, te rua te kauma iwa o whiringa anoku i te tau rua manu, rua te kauma rima. Greetings everyone. It's now my honour to call up our councillors, and following that I will make a brief inaugural speech. First of all, we're going to start with the General Ward, and it's my pleasure to invite Councillor Greg Brown.
I, Greg Brown, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rotorua District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act. Dated.
I now invite Councillor Kai Fong.
I, Sandra Kai Fong, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rotorua District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act.
Great training! I'd now like to invite Councillor Lee.
Thank you. I, Robert Lee, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rotorua District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information Meetings Act 1987 and any other act.
I now invite Councillor Patterson.
I, Don Patterson, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of Rotorua District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act.
I now invite Councillor Sanford.
I, Ben Sanford, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of Rotorua District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act.
I now invite Councillor Wang.
I, Fisher Wang, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of Rotorua District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, and any other act.
We now go to the Māori Ward Councillors. Councillor Maxwell.
I, Trevor Horowaiwai Maxwell, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rotorua District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, and any other act. Left.
Councillor Rotorua Tate.
Ko ahau, ko merepeka Rotorua Tate, e oti anaka, whai ahau I te pono me te tōteke. I runga hoke te mutunga, ke a mai nei e aku pukenga o aku whakatau hoki kia whakatau tutuki. Kia maha one, hoki te mana whakahaere, te mana whakatau me nā momo mahi, kua ahia ki runga I a au, whiwhi whainga mō te takawā o Rotorua hei kaunihera o te kaunihera o roho o Rotorua I ai hoki ki te ture kawanatana a Taiao 2002 ki te ture kawanatana a Taiao whakapai me te hui 1987 me etahi ture anō rānei.
Councillor Timara Benfau.
Kua hau, ko te rika Timara Benfau, e o atiana ka whai ahau I te pono me te tōkeke, I runa hoki I te mutsunake mai, nei o aku pūkena, o aku whakatau hoki kia whakatūtuki. Kia mahi anō hoki I te mana whakahaere, te mana whakatau, me nā momo mahi kua uhia kiruni au, kia whiwhia paina mo te takiwā o Rotorua, he kai kaunihira o te kaunihira arohe o Rotorua. E ai hoki ki te ture kāwanatana a Taiao 2002, ki te ture kāwanatana a Taiao whakapai e te hui ko 1948 me ētahi atu ture anō rānei. He mea whakau tēnei I Rotorua I tēnei rā te rua te kaumaiwa o whirina anuku I te tau 2025.
We now move to our Rural Ward Councillor, Councillor Barker.
I, Karen Barker, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Rotorua District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rotorua District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act.
We now have our Community Board members, starting with the Lakes Community Board. Mr. McMillan.
I, Peter McMillan, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua Lakes community the power, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rotorua Lakes Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act. Thank you.
Mrs. Rothwell.
I, Jennifer Rothwell, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua Lakes community the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rotorua Lakes Community Board by the virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act.
And finally, we move to the Rural Community Board, starting with Mrs. Forlong.
I, Karen Forlong, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua rural community the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rotorua Rural Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act of 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meeting Act of 1987 and any other act. I now invite Mr. Guyton.
Just kidding. I now invite Mrs. Marshall.
I, Tina Marshall, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skills and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rotorua rural community the powers, authorities and duties vested and imposed upon me as a member of the Rotorua Rural Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 and any other act.
Mrs. Rose.
I, Tina Rose, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interest of the Rotorua rural community the powers, authorities, and duties invested in or imposed on me as a member of the Rotorua Rural Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, and any other act. Thank you. Thank you, Tony.
It is our pleasure to welcome not only returning but also new elected members to the table today. Now I will just give a brief inaugural speech. I want to say it's so fantastic to be returning as Mayor of Rotorua. This is an honour that's not only for myself but also for my family. And I acknowledge my mother, Rowana Bennett, and my father, Terry Tapsell, and my very patient husband, Kanan Clancy. In the Mayor's office, we kind of get to do what we want with the office, and it was important to me to move the desk up to one particular wall. And that wall has the Rotorua Township Agreement, previously known as the Fenton Agreement. And that was special because on there is my ancestor, Retireti Tapihana, who signed that, alongside many others, in our marae of Tamate Kapua in Ohenemotu. And in doing so, Ngāti Whakaue, Ngāti Uenuku Kōpako, and Ngāti Rangi Wewehi, as you've heard in the kōrero earlier today, they did that mo te painga o ngā iwi katoa, mo te painga o ngā ao katoa, for everybody in the world, not just for this community, not just for those who affiliate to their tribes, but for everybody. And it is that value of tātou tātou that is still in our crest, not only on the mayor's chains, not only on the doors that you entered in, but it should be in every day that you are privileged enough to be an elected member, that we will continue to work tātou tātou together for the best interests of everyone. I want to acknowledge my Deputy Mayor, Councillor Kai Fong. I am very confident I have the best mayor in the best deputy mayor in the country, and we're going to have a great triennium. And also Councillor Barker, who managed to be elected unopposed. And I have no doubt that that is due to the incredible hard work that you have given in the past 3 years. To our longest standing councillor in the country, Councillor Maxwell, it's fantastic to have you representing not only Rotorua, but also our country on many occasions when you have travelled overseas and done so well in representing our values. To Councillor Rotorua Tate, no mai hoki mai, welcome back. It is so lovely to have you back at the table. As a councillor, I admired you, and you were very much an idol to me. It is fantastic to see you back here. Thank you. Councillor Timara Benfell, I have no doubt that this is only the beginning of the positive impact that you will have on this world. Already you have given so much to this community, especially young people, and we are fortunate to have your voice at the table. To Councillor Fisher-Wing, one of my MVPs, I say, the one who manages to get absolutely everywhere in the community, and including, fortunately, on some occasions overseas with me representing Rotorua, we thank you for all of the effort that you put in. To new Councillor Ben Sanford, it is so good to have you at the table, not only because of your skills, your knowledge, and your passion for this community, but also for the potential that you continue and will have as a future leader as well. Councillor Don Patterson, one of the most loyal and faithful people that I know, it's fantastic to have you here with your determination, your drive and your commitment, which the people of Springfield no doubt know very well. Only to be potential competition of Councillor Robert Lee, the other passionate, loyal and faithful supporter of not only Springfield but also our community. It's great to have you on board and I look forward to working collaboratively with you. Councillor Greg Brown, the 11th hour councillor who had us running down the hall saying, please stand. I am so glad that you are here. You are not only a voice at the table, but you have significant impact behind the scenes. When you talk, we all listen, because a man of few words, but plenty of action and determination. We acknowledge you. To our Rural and Lakes Community Board members, our community boards play a very crucial role in representing all of our district. Whether it's our Rural Community Board that represents 70% of the land in Rotorua, or our Lakes Community Board, 16 lakes, and the reason we're called the Rotorua Lakes Council, it's a real honour to have you on board working for our community as well. Thank you. And finally, can I acknowledge the staff, the ones who actually make things happen. I want to acknowledge our Chief Executive, Andrew Marias. It's been great to have you on board, and in your short time here of just over a year, we've already seen such significant progress. We appreciate your hard work and your leadership for the rest of the executive team, including Greg, who helps keep me on time and order. He tries anyway. Thank you very much, everyone, to the friends and family who have gathered here today to acknowledge this very special occasion, because today is the start of the next 3 years. And while nothing is guaranteed, what I will guarantee you is this council and our community board members will do all we can to be a high-performing council and to ensure that we leave this world, this community, in a better place. Mō te painga o te hapori katoa, for everybody in our district. Thank you. So we're now going to take a brief break for you to give your loved one a hug and we will take some photos starting with the community board members, and then lunch will be available for everyone at 12 o'clock. When we return, the council will undertake our first business of the triennium, starting with staff reports, which is legislative advice for the incoming council, appointment of the deputy mayor, and adoption of the schedule of council meetings. We'll then finally adopt the annual report before closing for the day. So what time should we return? So we'll return at 11 o'clock. Thank you. No mai hoki mai, welcome back. We'll get underway with our formalities of this council meeting, starting with our staff reports. So you will find the agenda in your stella, which hopefully everybody has up. And first of all, we're going to take the legislative advice for the incoming council, and I'd like to invite Greg Kieck to overview that report. Can I please have a mover and a seconder? It's moved by Councillor Wang, seconded by Councillor Patterson. All those in favour to receive this report, please say aye. Aye. Any against? That's carried. Thank you. Over to you, Greg.
Morena councillors. Just a note of the next three reports that have come to you this morning. These are required under the Local Government Act Schedule 7, Clause 21(5). So it is in there for you to read. If you do have any questions on this that require us to seek some further advice, please come and speak to us. We're happy to take questions in that regard. Following this report, we'll have the other two reports that are also part of this first meeting. Thank you.
Just checking if there are any questions. No, thank you. We'll move on to the next item, which is the appointment of the Deputy Mayor. Can I please have we'll take them together, a mover and a seconder that the report appointment of the Deputy Mayor be received, and also that Council affirms the appointment by the Mayor of Councillor Kai Fong as Deputy Mayor. It's moved by Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Timarau Benfell. All those in favour to receive, please say aye. Any against? That's carried. Any questions? Excellent. It is my pleasure to congratulate you, Sandra Kai Fong, and may we get back to business. And yeah. Thank you. We do note that Councillor Kai Fong abstained from that vote. And then we now have the adoption of the schedule of council meetings for November and December. Just for councillors to note, I have just double checked with everyone that Wednesdays are still appropriate, and they are, so we'll stick with that. So may I please have a mover and a seconder to receive the report, adoption of the schedule of council meetings for November and December 2025. It's moved by Councillor Barker, seconded by Councillor Kai Fong. We just put that straight to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? That's carried. And you will note that has been received. All those in favour, sorry, I'm happy to move. Do I have a seconder? Seconded. Yeah, of course. Take that, seconded by Councillor Kai Fong, and question from Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Worship. Just a question as to when we'll be seeing the rest of the plan.
Thank you, Councillor. The practice following an induction is for the committee structure to be set up. Once that has been brought to you, the schedule of meetings will kick in, and so we'll bring that to the following meeting following the adoption of the committee structure. And time frames for that, Your Worship?
We anticipate in the November meeting we will have the committee structure set up. That will be after we've had the opportunity for our priority session with councillors, which may determine how the committees look.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. I'll put that to the vote then. That was moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Kai Fong. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? That's carried. So we now move to the adoption of the annual report, which we have received a brief on, and this is also an attachment in your stella in a separate item. May I please have a mover and a seconder to receive this report? That's moved by Councillor Barker, seconded by Councillor Sanford. All those in favour to receive, please say aye. Thank you. And it's our pleasure to welcome David Walker from Audit NZ, and also David Jensen, of course, our CFO, to overview this report.
Thank you, Your Worship, and delegate members. So it's my privilege to be here to present the paper to adopt this annual report. I've got a couple of opening remarks, and then I will hand over to David Walker, who is our Audit Director with Audit New Zealand, for comments on the audit process and the audit opinion. I think it's fair to say it has been a challenging annual report to prepare. There were a number of substantial things that have happened, or transactions that occurred during the year, we dealt with through the process of the annual report. The bringing in of Infracore into Core Council was no mean feat from an accounting perspective. It required a lot of work to make that successful. There was some additional work required with our future liabilities in our landfill, just making sure that we are putting enough money aside to deal with our future obligations once that landfill closes in 2030. The progress of the museum enabled us to recognise some grant revenue that we have been sitting on in our balance sheet and revenue in advance this year. So there was about $8 million worth of grant revenue that we were able to claim because we've met those construction milestones. And we had a revaluation of our land and buildings assets, which resulted in a revaluation gain of about $88 million. The Council finished the end of the financial year for 2025 with an operating surplus of $8.3 million, which is a little lower than we had budgeted for in the annual plan, and that's largely due to lower than forecast development contribution revenues, just with development occurring more slowly than we had forecast in the annual plan. Net debt ended the year at $453 million, which was $17 million lower than we had budgeted in the long-term plan. And we ended the year with capital expenditure of $98 million. So Council's ended the year in a very strong financial position, and we're ready to tackle these future challenges. But before I pass over to David Walker, I would like to acknowledge the team sitting behind us in the wings. They've put in a substantial amount of work, and we're really lucky to have such a talented team to prepare that annual report and be a part of our finance team. But I'll pass over to David Walker.
Thanks very much, David. And Mayor, through you, my time here has been cut shorter by David. He's already touched on some of the things I was going to say. Let me start off by congratulating new councillors and returning councillors. Well done, obviously respected by the community and you and the chair that you are. So, congratulations. My next one is, again, a thank you. Big thank you to David, Michelle, Cornay, Darlene, who I know is not here, Greg, Alex, Emma, and I know there are a lot of other people behind the scenes, but I've listed, people who I've had some direct interaction with, and it's a big thank you. You almost cannot do an annual. I've got a few years behind me, as you can see. You almost cannot do an annual report without something jumping out, something unexpected, and this year was no exception. Cornay worked over the weekend, for example. Shadab and myself were liaising, exchanging emails with Cornay. So there's, to meet your statutory deadline, in my mind, is a reputational tick. Well done, you've done it. And there were some names that, honestly, a very big thank you. I'd like to touch on the audit opinion. A bit difficult when I don't know everyone's experience in audit opinions, particularly new councillors. You've got a clean audit opinion. In other words, it's unmodified. But in the opinion, there is an emphasis of meta. That does not qualify the opinion, and every single district council will have an emphasis of meta, which covers the waters. And why is it there? Because of the unknowns around the three waters and where we're going to end up. And so what the emphasis of matter does is it says, hello, reader, please have a look at this paragraph and make sure you understand that this will have an impact on the financial reports to come. So, well done. It's an unmodified audit opinion. We do produce two other reports. One is to those charged with governance. That's a high-level report, and we'd like to describe it in the form of if there's something important that would influence your decision on whether to adopt the annual report or not, it should be in there. And for those who've read it, well, great, well done, you've read it. For those who haven't had the opportunity of seeing it or reading, there's nothing in there that I would say to you, beware. In other words, it's a fairly clean, it's an informative report to those charged with governance. The second of those two reports is to management, where we've found things, picked up things along the way, and we make recommendations to management. And that report is in draft and is yet to come. David mentioned it's been a challenging year. I won't repeat some of the things David's already mentioned. So there's only two things I would like to add. The one item is in your annual report and is note 30. It deals with the prior year errors. The prior error relates to a capital work in progress. When Council got a new FMI system, a financial management system, there was limited number of standard transactions that you could do. And the people at the time knew what manual journal entries to process once certain transactions had been put through. With the change of people, some of that in-house knowledge was lost, which meant there were incomplete transactions. We found that it was in the management report last year. On investigation, the numbers became clearer, and we fixed it in 2025. So it did take a lot of time in investigation. Council spent quite a lot of time on it, and Darlene in particular did a massive amount of work. The second item I'd touch on is the Lakes Rehabilitation Program. Council received 10 million from MFE, and with the change of agreement, so it was a new agreement only at the beginning of this year, there was 10 million referred to, and it wasn't clear whether that 10 million was revenue or whether it was a loan. Because the agreement's written by policymakers, they weren't clear about what was going to happen with this 10 million. Cut an awful long story short, liaising with MFE, obviously of Bay of Plenty Regional Council, that is recognised as revenue. There was another little step to that. We found that the Rotor Iti on-site installations hadn't been completed. There were 80 still to be completed. So some of that 10 million should actually be in revenue in advance. That's about 2.5 million. And an adjustment will go through next year for that. We found it quite late in the piece, simply because this was auditing by discovery. The finance team didn't know, and it was only when we were asking these questions did it find out. Is it a problem? No. Have you lost anything? No. Have you got the money? Yes. Will the program continue and be done? That's your infrastructure people. So I tried to describe it in simple terms. It did take a long. They are anomalies within the work we had to do. But I would like to leave, and I know there's old councillors, experienced councillors, and there's some new councillors. I would just like to say that if I was signing the opinion, well, I wouldn't be signing an audit opinion if I had a problem. Chair, I think that's all I need to say. I would like to offer the opportunity of anyone asking any questions.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the overview. I think you summarised it very well. Are there any questions on the annual report, either for David Walker or David Jensen? Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for your report, Davids. The Rotorua issue, do I understand correctly you've been involved in an audit of the Rotorua scheme?
Well, the audit I'm involved with is Council's audit. Council has an agreement, a funding agreement with MFE, and that agreement identifies 4 lakes which they were prepared to fund. That agreement goes back to, I think, about 2008. And there's been 3 variations to that original agreement. So have we covered the Rotor Iti scheme? Yes, because Council will have spent money on the procurement to to install the on-site installations. For example, there's the reticulation that supports that. So the answer to that is yes. But as a separate audit, no, that's outside my mandate and was not required.
Okay, so according to the annual reports that were published, you may or may not be able to answer this, I don't know, but according to the annual reports that were published, the total amounts spent on the Rotorua scheme was about 33.5 million, and then the total amount charged out was 67 million. So I'm just wondering whether that issue was covered off in your auditing.
Councillor, very difficult. Those numbers. Now you're giving me numbers. So, as a typical auditor, I'm going to say, well, what makes up those numbers? What's the cutoff? At what point in time are you giving me these numbers? So, to be honest, I sound a bit silly sitting here and saying I can't really answer that. But to be able to answer it, I want a whole lot of information. And when were they established? What number are you talking to? What's included and excluded, etc., etc. I know their numbers. Some numbers are bigger than what you're talking about, but then it's a question of what's included, what's not included.
Yes, I think those questions are the same ones I'd be asking as well. So I just don't understand why there's two sets of numbers. But those are the annual reports published from the inception of the Lakes scheme going back to 2008, and everything that's recorded in those reports assigned to Rotorua. So, that's a question I'm interested in getting an answer to.
I'd have to leave it with you. In terms of the agreement and MFE, I know wants reports, and they may be different to internal reports. If I was in any of the three people sitting up there, I'd probably want reports, but those reports are going to be different from some other reports. So, I'm sorry I can't answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
And just a reminder that the annual report covers the period from 1st of July 2024 to 30th of June 2025. Are there any other questions? Oh, no. Okay then. Well, I'll ask for a mover and a seconder for the motions that the Council resolves to adopt the annual report and the audited summary for the Rotorua Lakes Council for the year ended 30th of June 2025, that the Mayor and Chief Executive be authorised to sign the Letter of Representation and Statement of Compliance section of the annual report, and that the Chief Executive be authorised to make minor editorial changes, if any, as agreed with Council's auditors. It's moved by Councillor Kai Fong. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wang. That is open for discussion if there is any. I do just want to also acknowledge the significant amount of work and time that's gone into preparing this on time, and also thank this new council that just due to the timing of it, we are adopting it now and not with the previous council. Councillor Kai Fong?
Thank you, Worship. Just similarly to echo those same sentiments, thank you, David, for coming today and for the work that you've done. And it's great that we've now got a clean audit and we're able to adopt on time, so we're really happy about that. To David, this is your first annual report as our new CFO, so congratulations on that. And also to your staff, well done, team. It's been a great effort, and you should be heartily congratulated for the excellent efforts in terms of getting this adopted on time. And I think, David, you also echoed that the councils also need to take some of that accolade, because there was some of the work was done in the last triennium. And so thank you very much, everyone, for us being able to adopt this annual report on time.
Thank you. Well, that's been Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Your Worship. My name's going to be on this thing. There are a number of errors in the document, minor errors, not material. I would like the opportunity, if possible, to have those corrected for the record. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Minor editorial changes are fine, but that does not change the substance of it. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Okay, so I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour, please please raise your hand. Any against? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. And once again, thank you very much, David Walker, for being here in person to present to us too. Thank you. So that concludes the formalities and today's council meeting. And so we will close off with a karakia. Kia whakairi ai te tapu, kia wātea ai te ara, kia tūriki whakataha ai, kia tūriki whakataha ai. Haumie, huie, tai tie. Thank you very much, everyone. We will now take photos with community boards if they haven't yet, and then councillors, and then a full council photo, followed by lunch at 12 o'clock, of which everyone is welcome to join us. Thank you.